I just have to say hello and I get applause. This is wonderful. Hi, my name is Valerie. I run something called Geeky Comedy Seattle. So today you are at Gaggle of Geeks, a geeky comedy showcase. I have gathered the geekiest comics in Seattle and I'm going to put them on stage today. I just want to say that it's absolutely wonderful to see people here gathering together. Just like all you beautiful nerds is exactly what I needed this week. So I hope that we can bring some laughter and some joy. I'm going to start off with a little introduction song, and then I'm going to bring on our first comic. So here's my introduction song. Comedy time, come on, grab your friends. We go to very nerdy lands with Valerie and Bruno the ukulele. The laughs will never end. It's comedy time. So, thank you. Our first comedian today is a dear friend of mine. She's actually doing a workshop tomorrow called Dungeons and Derivatives. So if you've ever wondered how math and gaming could go together, I highly recommend going to that. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce Teresa Flores.
Thank you very much, Valerie. So when I was writing the set for tonight, I thought there might be too many puns in it, but instead of taking any out, I decided to bribe y'all. So if you find me and tell me what one of the puns was, I will give you a sticker. Now, it's normally a gold star sticker because I am a teacher, but because it's GeekGirlCon, this time they're D&D stickers. But don't worry, still a comedy show, not going full teacher mode on y'all. Like Valerie said, that's tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for Dungeons and Derivatives. But you can tell I'm not going full teacher mode because this is my actual voice. I have worked in education for over 15 years, so I do have a well-honed teacher voice that is calm and yet still animated, authoritative but still reassuring. But sometimes I start to talk too fast or too loud, and really, physics can be difficult to understand in the best of times. Now, incidentally, speech that is fast or loud or difficult to understand is a common sign that someone is experiencing a manic episode. Now, some might say that my mental health issues make me unsuited to work in education, but I would argue that having bipolar makes me a better physics teacher. Because after all, who better to teach you about magnetism than someone who has bipolar? I have done a lot of therapy for my bipolar disorder. In fact, one of the reasons I'm here right now is that I ran the idea by my therapist a few years ago, and she thought it was a great idea, and she's a much better judge of my life decisions than I am, so here we are. I've been thinking a lot about those life decisions lately because I turn 40 next year. One person's excited. And I've been thinking about what I would have done differently. I would not have applied for the same job 4 times without ever getting it. And while I know the saying goes that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is insanity, I have a physics degree from MIT that forces me to acknowledge the fact that it's also quantum mechanics. I was only able to get into a competitive school because I spent the first 18 years of my life subsisting solely upon external validation. And then I spent the next 4 years not getting it anymore, and I've been trying to get it back ever since. Why do you think anybody goes into comedy? Okay. I decided to major in physics in college because I liked physics in high school, and that turned out to be the biggest bait and switch of all time. Choosing to devote your life to something simply because you liked it as a teenager is a colossal mistake. And this is speaking as someone who's currently married to her homecoming date from 2002. Now, if you've seen me perform before, you may have noticed I changed the wording for that joke, and that's because we did get married this past summer. I'm excited about that one, too. We got married at a courthouse, which if you've never tried it before, I highly recommend it. We didn't forego all wedding traditions. We had a cake, and my parents were super excited to freeze a slice and have reminded us often that we're supposed to eat it on our first anniversary. My parents have really seized on to celebrating my adult milestones in life, because for a long time, I did not have any. I don't have kids, and for decades, it looked like I was never going to get married. So I think along the way, they sometimes made up milestones to celebrate. Like, they were super excited when I got a Costco membership. I've learned that the average Costco customer in the U.S. is a married 39-year-old Asian American woman, so check, who makes over $125,000 a year. Oops, never mind. This is just one instance where it seems like I'm inconsistent about the stereotypes that I embody. So, for example, I'm really, really good at math, which is a common Asian stereotype, but that's counteracted by stereotypes about women. So do people think those cancel out and think I'm going to be like average at math? Because that's really kind of mean when you think about it. The strongest evidence for me that I don't live up to stereotypical expectations is that social media algorithms never get me right. Targeted clothing ads think that I am tall with a huge chest, which is clearly not true. Spotify thinks that I am a lesbian, which is half true. And Instagram thinks I am a horse girl, as in girl who likes horses, not as in centaur. Other apps are more accurate, but then are mean to me. Duolingo clearly knows what I do for a living, but gives me sentences like, mi maestro de física está hablando, pero no entiendo una palabra. Which means, my physics teacher is talking, but I don't understand a word. The one thing the internet gets right about me, without being a jerk about it, is that I am a huge fan of Critical Role. Thanks. Critical Role is my ultimate vicarious fantasy fulfillment. And it's not the actual fantasy element of the show, and it is not even the dream of getting paid to play D&D. My biggest fantasy right now would be the chance to talk to multiple adults on a regular basis. When you think about my work schedule versus my husband's and the fact that I teach elementary school kids to high school kids, talking to adults is something that I just don't do, unless it's to a coworker about a student, which means there's some really weird educator version of the Bechdel test that I am failing miserably. Communicating primarily with children has made me very good at censoring myself without thinking too much about it. For example, I once burned myself with a soldering iron in front of a room full of 7-year-olds, and what I said out loud was, "Oh my gee golly goodness." I also have alternate wording for a lot of my jokes that I've had to come up with when I've noticed that kids were in the audience. My favorite example of that is how I once spilled a bottle of pH indicator solution and somehow managed to sit in the puddle, which was unfortunate, but I now have scientific evidence that my backside is not basic. That is a true story, by the way. I'm not good at making things up. That's why I write comedy instead of fiction. I love reading fiction, have since I was a kid. I sometimes go back and reread my favorite books from childhood. I still love the Babysitter's Club, although I cringe inside every time one of the characters calls the only Asian American main character exotic. Encyclopedia Brown mysteries have not held up to adult scrutiny. Some of his solutions involve things like knowing somebody was a fake talent show contestant because magicians never wear short sleeves, or finding a stolen penny in a hot dog because nobody ever puts mustard on top of sauerkraut, or insisting that somebody was lying about their whereabouts during a robbery because he couldn't say, "Oh, you'll never take me back there," if he hadn't been there before. What I'm saying is that Encyclopedia Brown is not a boy detective, he's a pedantic jerk. When I'm not reading kids' books, I'm usually reading young adult fiction. I read some books targeted at adults, but somewhere between the young adult and general fiction sections of the bookstore, authors go from portraying heroines who find love, but do so while taking down dictators in post-apocalyptic dystopias, to relationships that I feel a little bit more problematic. Goodness. For example, I once read a book where the protagonist divorced her husband because he had changed his mind about wanting to stay child-free. And that in and of itself would be fine. People are allowed to change their minds. People are allowed to leave relationships when they're not happy. The problem for me was that one of the other characters told the protagonist, "Hey, if you really thought he was your soulmate, you'd have his baby." And the protagonist agreed. What's more, she doubled down and went back to her ex and said the divorce was all my fault. And it worked out for her. Sure, great. I want people to be happy even when they're fictional characters. I'm just super glad that my partner and I are on the same page about not having kids, because if I was in the protagonist's place, I don't think I could make the same decision. Don't get me wrong, I love kids. I love working with kids. I love my nephew, even though I haven't met him yet. I love my nieces, even though they gave my husband a mug that says favorite uncle and me this bracelet that just says aunt. But I'm not super enthusiastic to become a mom. So if I had any kids, it wouldn't be fair to them if I just had them because my partner wanted them or because I was checking off boxes on an adulting checklist. That is what my Costco membership is for. That is what I've got for y'all this evening. Thank you so much. My name is Trace Flores.
Keep it going for Teresa. I'm sure there's more math puns tomorrow, too, in your workshop. A couple. Okay. So I'm going to sing a little song, if that's okay with everyone. I, as you can tell, like coloring my hair, it kind of started in 2020 because I had nothing better to do. And I realized I was leaning into my manic pixie dream era. So I wrote a song about that. My awkwardness is adorable, my clumsiness is cute. I play a quirky instrument like a ukulele or a lute. I will teach you how to love indie rock. If you still don't think I'm quirky, just take a look at my socks, which you can't tell right now, but usually they don't match. I don't understand why everyone loves kale. You can recognize me by my bushy fuchsia tail. I am nothing more than I seem. I'm a manic pixie dream. Squirrel. Yeah, this song got weird. It was 2020. I ironically have a nut allergy. If a dog runs too close, I run straight up a tree. When winter's close, I will bury all my food. And I am kind of furry, so I'm never really nude. What? I don't understand why everyone loves kale. You can recognize me by my bushy turquoise tail. I am nothing more than I seem. I'm a manic pixie dream. Squirrel. So at this point of the song, I wrote in a kazoo solo. So I'm happy to inform you that I forgot my kazoo. So lucky you, you don't have to bear that. I don't understand why everyone loves kale. You can recognize me by my bushy purple hair. I am nothing more than I seem. I'm a manic pixie dream. Squirrel. Thank you very much. The next comic I have for you today is a very good friend of mine. Actually, everyone's a good friend of mine. I'm going to keep saying that. But also, I wanted to sing this song before because just like to stay in an animal theme. So give it up for Polite Kitty.
Ooh, thank you. I'm gonna just move this out of the way. I guess we'll start with a little bit of the awkwardness, because it has to go right into this. And this is just off the top of my head because I thought about it. I used to work as a dental assistant, and I had a dentist who, is an older man, an older gentleman, and we work with Bunsen burners. I don't know if you guys know that, but we actually make dentures and things right in the office, right there. Oh yeah, we already know where this is going. Well, this man didn't replace any of his parts, or he'd worked in the dentist he must have worked for a dentist for like 40 years. Not once had he replaced the tubing on the Bunsen burner. I didn't know this, and I went to go start it up to make a denture, and woo, his whole eyebrows came right off. So I didn't know what to say, so I just smiled and I said, you've been meaning to clip those anyways, right? Sorry for the patient laughed, by the way, so that's good. I am Polite Kitty. If you haven't noticed already, I am autistic. Yay, for my neurodivergent. I understand that this is Seattle and a lot of us are neurodivergents out here and it's not really something to celebrate, but I do celebrate it because my son is also autistic. Yes, and 12 years old. So of course, what are we doing? We are at home playing video games. He spent most of his time here today playing video games over there. If you have children who are, 8 years old and above, you will know exactly what I'm talking about when they put on the headset and sit on the couch. Because what do I hear out of him? Bro. Nah, man, bro, no cap. Ah, no, I got Riz. No cap, bro, I got Riz. My favorite, though, is when they start to use the, skibbity toilet. So what I did was in my Animal Crossing game, I changed all my little things to Rizzler. Skibbity toilet. So now when my little villagers come up to me, they go, oh, no cap, how's it going? So happy to see you. My son, when he's playing on, because he is autistic, he will stim. I stim too. As you can see me, I'm pacing on the stage now. So when he is sitting on the couch and he's playing his video games, he's like over here going, bro, 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 bro. His hands start flapping and his feet start going. I think he's going to fly right off the couch. And I can make that joke because I'm also autistic. And when I'm over there seeing him do this, I'm going over, stop! You're driving me insane. It's really hard living in a household with two neurodivergents who have two complete opposite sensory systems. I'm over here going, shh. And he's the one down the house going, oh my God, I want pizza right now. In addition to being autistic, I'm also gender fluid. I'm so glad that guy. Usually when I tell people that here in Seattle, it's just dead silence. Like, yeah, it's just another Tuesday for you guys. And I actually love that. But when I did say that when I perform, around the country. And I was in New York one time performing, and I said that, and I got thunderous applause from the audience. And I was like, can you guys just follow me everywhere as my little, you poured the cereal, good for you. Because I feel like that's just my everyday life. It's just who I am. But I had to tell my son that my pronouns are they, them. They have always known me as she, her, but that didn't fit, so they, them. He has to learn how to use the pronouns, right? Because it's got to become habit. So he decides that he's going to start using echolalia. And if you don't know that term, you're going to be informed right now. Echolalia is to repeat something over and over again. And it really sometimes can be a learning process for neurodivergence. So he's running around the house going, mommy's they, them, mommy's they, them. And I'll be in the kitchen. He's like, hey, they, them, hi, mom. Again, it's different sensory systems. But he really wanted to show me that he learned my pronouns. So he came up to me one day and he goes, Mommy, I know what your pronouns are. And I was like, awesome. Tell me, what are my pronouns? And he goes, bro and sus. He doesn't realize, I think, that his mom is a comedian who does this for a living. So without hesitation, I looked at him and I smiled and I said, oh, sweetie. I said, you know what your pronouns are? Not planned. Had to explain what a mistake was. He ran and told Grandma, Mommy said I was a mistake. He'll never do that again. I did homeschool him for a little bit. I decided to homeschool because I thought that the online school during the pandemic was just not that great. But I still wanted him to have experiences like I had when I was growing up, right? You know, that game of spin the bottle, truth or dare. But I can't play truth or dare with my son. That can raise some very awkward conversations that I don't want to have to explain. So I decided we would play Would You Rather. I went on Amazon. I got really into it. I bought a book specifically called Would You Rather for 10-year-olds on Amazon. I know that's a bad word here, but that's okay. We do what we can, right? And so we're going through this book, and I was like, okay, it's like right before bed, I read to him every night. And I thought, okay, this would be perfect opportunity. So we read the book together. Now, mind you, I had not seen this book before. It was brand new. So we open up to the first page, which was, would you rather wear high heels to bed every day for the rest of your life or eat toothpaste for a week? It's like those things have nothing to do with each other. And this is supposed to be for 10-year-olds? I'm used to the questions of like, would you rather eat hair or eat toenails, you know? I don't know. But he came up with a very good rationalization that he'd wear the heels every night to bed because that was way more comfortable and not as spicy as the toothpaste. We did have one with the would you rather that was, would you rather cough bubbles or burp confetti? This book? All right, I want everyone to answer because I know what his answer was, so what's your answer? Would you rather burp confetti or cough bubbles? Bubbles! He thinks outside the box and says, I'd rather fart sparkles. And I said, I'm like, why? I already gave you 2 options. That wasn't an option in the book. And it was already weird enough. And he said, Mommy, he goes, that way, anytime anybody seen me fart, they'd at least know that I was sparkly on the inside. I've been polite kitty, thank you.
Give it up again for Polite Kitty. I'm just asking for those second applauses so I have time to move the mic back up. Do we have any science nerds in the audience? A couple? Oh, a lot. Okay, okay. This is a love song I wrote about chemistry, so I hope you enjoy it. When we snuggle real close together, it's as if we are one, just like 2 atoms fusing. Didn't know chemistry could be so fun. I'd say we're quite radical, and I don't mean that we're cool. More like we have electrons to share. Come on, let's form a molecule. You and me, we have chemistry. Come with me, so we can bond covalently. I'll be the hydrogen to your chlorine, or the nitrogen to your nitrogen if we want a super strong triple bond. I'll be the carbon to your oxygen. I want to form an orbital with you, don't care if it's sigma or pi. Now I made myself hungry, want to go grab some actual pie. You and me, we have chemistry. Come with me, so we can bond covalently. So I have good or bad news depending on who you are and what your opinions are on kazoos. I found it. You and me, we have chemistry. Come with me, so we can bond covalently. Thank you. Our next comic, also a good friend of mine, has a very good podcast where he reviews movies. It's called You're Watching a Movie with Silas. I probably botched that. That's great. He'll tell you. Anyway, give it up for Silas Lindenstein.
I don't know what we're doing. Whatever. It's like a WWE ramp. I love that. It's great. I love it. I'm glad we're back to masks here because I hated seeing people smile, and Now I can just guess that it's working. It's been a week, huh? It's been a week. Some rough things happened. The biggest thing for me was finding out that Ted Cruz says he's a Trekkie. Yes, he's claimed to be a self-professed Trekkie. I just found this out. Now, here, if you don't know who Ted Cruz is, he is a senator from Texas. If you don't know what he looks like, imagine a colonoscopy as a person. Okay, he's a member of the Tea Party, so he thinks he's like a rebel. He sees himself as like Han Solo. Really, he's Jar Jar. Puts in the vote to turn the goofy old guy into the emperor. This is a little too close to home, huh? He thinks of himself as, in case you're a Trekkie, he thinks of himself as Riker, and he's more like Rom. So, but like a less pleasant Rom, right? Imagine. I don't know what kind of nerds you are here. These are all tests in the beginning. I don't know what we got here. I always said I'm like a double major in Star Wars and Star Trek with a minor in Buffy. I don't know. It's my things. But I just can't get over this thing. I don't understand the idea of conservative nerds, right? Do you not understand what you're watching? Do you not get who's the villain in this story? It's, again, and it's not like Democrats, they're not perfect. It's not like they're actually Gryffindors, they try to be, but they're, really like Hufflepuffs, most of them. But nothing wrong with a Hufflepuff. I married a Hufflepuff. It's okay. But you know what? But the Republicans, they're like straight up Slytherins, right? Some of them are death, and I know not all Slytherins are bad. I get that. There's probably some here eyeing me right now. But some are Death Eaters, and they're blatant about it. And they're like, sure, I don't like Voldemort, but do you really want socialism? And also, socialism, they get into, they have socialism as Thanos. Well, really, it's like Prince Humperdinck. It's not, it's mild. Someone did I said that joke, and somebody said, well, Prince Humperdinck did kidnap the princess there and frame it on another country. And I'm like, well, that's just capitalism. That's what you do. But she liked it. I always like it. If you're going to do a comedy show, let's make sure there's a wide open audience, a wide open wall. I want to close it in. That way I can say anything, right? I told the producer, I said, she said it's a clean show, and I'm like, don't worry, I won't say anything or do anything that the president-elect wouldn't do. But there's a lot of fear right now, about other things. AI, I hear a lot of people afraid of AI. A lot of people say they're afraid of AI taking writing jobs. I want to remind everybody that humans wrote Sharknado 1, 2, and 3. Okay? And they're like, well, the artists are going to lose their jobs. I was at another convention, and I saw a painting of a Muppet having sex with a gremlin. And I'm going to tell you, we're doing this to ourselves. We gotta stop, because, do you know Avatar was written by James Cameron, a human being, supposedly? The dialogue, horrible. Do we have video game fans here, though? Are there video game? Okay, a lot of video. Okay, maybe you can. I've been very slow on catching up with video games. I just found out which castle the princess was hidden in. When did I got this game called Horizon Zero Dawn? I did the first one. Oh, yeah, love the game, love the game. But can you tell me, when did video games start doing errands? They just called them errand. I was like, ooh, an errand. Truthfully, this is how I read it, because I didn't think it was an errand. I thought, ooh, I need to do an errand. I was like, ooh, it's so fancy. No, it's just an errand. They say, oh, you need to go get 20 white flowers. The White Witch wants 20. I'm like, okay, I'll go do this. I bet this is going to unlock something big. And they're like, oh, here's a gold coin. That was it? Like I'm avoiding my own errands to do this video game, right? My wife's like, you gonna unload the dishwasher? I'm like, this white witch has me working all day right now, so I'm not gonna have time. It's what else? Such a weird set to do. Yeah, I don't want to do like what else am I gonna talk about to you? Pot? Nah, the real drug. Sci-fi. I think you know, when you go to a nerd convention, this is just what happened. The people I was like, I'm Chris Rock and this is my moment, right? He's gonna oh my God. How did I offend him? Jeez. Okay. That's interesting. That's we Tetris this, huh? It's a bad Tetris move. Like you could have gone the other way. I would have gone the other way, personally, right? Then you could drop in the top. I'm getting walked by an 8-year-old. Like, what is it gonna happen? My ego just shot. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Biggest sci-fi plot twist. I think about that a lot as a movie reviewer. Check me out at you'rewatchingamovie.com. Anyway, I think about the biggest sci-fi plot twist. Was it he was dead the whole time? No. Vader was his father? No. I think it was Harry Potter, Book 8, when you find out the author's a bigot. I think that was... I didn't see it coming. I didn't expect it. Really twisted up there. And I know a lot of people, it's a torn issue, right? Like, I love this world that I already fell in love with, but I don't want to support a transphobe. So, hey, that's why we got conventions, right? Unauthorized merchandise right up there for you. And also used books, by the way. Used books. Authors don't get any of that, by the way. That's good and bad. Buy the books of the non-transphobes. Go to the yard sale. But what if it's really nicely illustrated, right? I don't know. Anyway. The easiest job in the world. I've decided from many years of watching movies and TV shows, the easiest job in the world is the dialect coach for the Star Wars universe. I have never seen such a lackluster, not care about your job performance than the dialect coach. He goes, "Oh, hey, sir, this character, he's from this Planet X. What should his dialect be? I don't care. Just there's craft services here. Whatever you want. British, go for British." Then another guy's like, "Hey, I'm from this other planet. What should my dialect be like?" He's like, "British? I don't know. Whatever. Scottish? I don't care. Whatever. Same thing. Go." And like, what's amazing is as a fan of Star Trek, I know that how much work Star Trek puts into their dialects and accents. I don't know if you know this, but like when they create a new alien race, they will create a new language. A full language. They will create new the dialogue, the syntax, the different area dialect. They do it all for that. If you can perform the complete works of Shakespeare in Klingon, it's out there. And then Star Wars, jub. Like that's $100,000, please. I like that. I'm a fan of the Star Wars shows. I like the shows that have come out. I was a fan of Andor. My buddy, who's more of a Star Trek guy, he was like, "Which Star Wars show should I watch?" And I said, "Andor. Hands down, try it." He called me after one episode, said he couldn't handle it. It was too boring. which I thought was really weird because his favorite Star Trek is Deep Space Nine, and that's... Oh my God. I was just telling backstage, I don't know when I can stop telling that because I'm too old. We're like, Deep Space, I haven't caught that one yet. What is that? It's very exciting. Eventually. All right. I gotta get going. I can't swear. So I have a daughter. I have a few kids. I have 3 kids. So it's a trilogy. So I'm done. I've tried to raise them as geeks, right? I tried to raise my oldest daughter as a geek because I figured if I raise her as a geek, then she won't have sex in high school. It worked for me, so I thought. And so she was an only child until she was 8 years old. She was an only child, and she was so excited to find out we were going to have another kid because she thought, as big sister, she got to name the child, which would have been fine, except her favorite book at the time, she was reading Harry Potter, and it would have been fine if she wanted to name it Hermione, or Luna, or Ron. I don't care. But she wanted to name it after her favorite character. And her favorite character at the time was Cho. Cho Chang. And I'm like, well, honey, Cho, that's an Asian name, so I'm not going to name it Cho. And she goes, Daddy, what if the baby's Asian? And I said, then we're going to have a lot more to talk about than the baby's name. Folks, that's all the time I have for you today. Thank you so much for being a part of this Gaggle of Geeks. Thank you so much.
Keep it going for Silas. And for the stress of seeing that table slide forward the whole time. I'm glad I wasn't alone. Thank you for saving potential disaster. Does everyone know what a tardigrade is? Okay. Just to make sure I don't leave anyone behind, a tardigrade is this tiny little animal. It's microscopic. Some people call them moss bears, it's moss piglets, water bears. That's it. I like to call them space koalas. Because they can survive. There have been tardigrades everywhere. They kind of survive in extreme environments. They also live in moss, not that extreme. And once they got accidentally sent to space and they came back and they were fine. So I wrote another love song. This one's for tardigrades. Tardigrades are better than people. There's no denying it's true. Even without hair, they're so cute. It's not fair. I want a pet tardigrade, don't you? You know you do. But you are even better than tardigrades. There are no tardies on you. Sure, they've been to outer space, but you know it looks like a butt? Their face. And that's why I'd rather kiss you. Thank you. I'd like to introduce our next comic. She produces shows in Seattle. She's extremely funny. I know she's nerdy. I know she's amazing. Give it up for Marie Elizabeth.
I got a fist bump like a cool kid. Are you guys cool kids? Oh my gosh, how did you guys get in if you're cool? I was the kid that was trying to teach other children magic tricks during recess and reading a dictionary like it was a novel. I feel like it's like nature and nurture though, because I am half Betazoid and half Vulcan, but I was raised by Klingons, which is to say that I'm also autistic AF. And if you understood what I said, then I would really like to either be best friends or we can make out, and it's your choice. Because I'm also queer and poly. So if there's a Venn diagram, oh my gosh, I'm going to get cheers for just being queer and poly. Yay! My identity. So if there's a Venn diagram, it's like, my friends and then people that I want to make out with. And then there's just so much overlap. It's just a circle. I'm really happy to be here. This is actually like my favorite con. I come every year with my kids. And one of the things I love is that like I just feel like everybody is a kindred spirit. Thank you. And one of the things that I like about kindred spirits is that I feel like we can keep each other safe from our predators. You know, like dude bros. Name like Chad or Chet, and they like live at the gym, and they skis out all of our friends. And then if they come to a convention, they exclusively cosplay as Batman. Like, way to telegraph your douchebaggery is that you're going to be like the one superhero whose sole superpower is just privilege. And it's like, to the 1% mobile, Robin. And Robin's like, holy stock options, Batman. I don't want to gatekeep. You know, obviously a femme, there's a lot of gatekeeping that's been in my past. But if you're going to come at me and tell me that Ben Affleck is the best Batman, and you're going to try to get everybody that's cosplaying as Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn to make out with each other, then I'm glad the Joker killed your parents. If you guys do want to see Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy making out, you have to subscribe to my OnlyFans. I accept credit cards, and then I also accept if you just want to kneel before me and present me with an exact replica of Link's Master Sword. I will accept smaller swords, but they have to be both clean, and you have to know how to use them. I'm talking about swords. You guys are perverts. Besides cons, like, I think it's kind of hard to know where to find my humans. And so I was thinking about the apps. Is anybody on apps? Oh my God. I love you guys so much. I heard about an app that where people are like meeting the loves of their life. I heard about it on NPR. It's called Duolingo. And I was thinking about how I would want to utilize Duolingo. And so I thought that I would just tell you my ideas, and you can tell me if they're creepy. Is that okay? Okay. So would it be creepy if I figured out how to get a notification that every time somebody signed in to learn Klingon, like, I would be notified? Yeah? Not creep. That's, I don't know. Okay, so the range, just so you know, the range is like 0 to restraining order. And I'm hearing that's maybe a 3. Okay. Okay. So what if I found a way to hack into Duolingo, and then I wrote a program so that I got a notification every time somebody signed in to learn Klingon, and it had their name and their phone number and their favorite coffee shop. That's a 5. This is great. A 7. Restraining order. Oh my goodness. Okay. Can I tell you like how I would want to arrange that meet cute? Okay, so here's what I'm imagining. Okay, so I'm imagining that, like, let's say that it's you, right? And you're at a coffee shop and you're like buying a latte or whatever. And you've just signed in to learn Klingon, and I'm there just like watching you. And then I come over, and I just want to preface this is like, I'm a nerd. I'm an autistic nerd. So the way that I know how to flirt is by movies. Okay? So I come over, and then I take off my glasses like this. I don't know why I do it slowly, and I also don't know why I do it at all, because now I can't really see you. But I think that that's so that you're hotter. Okay, and then, like, I just imagine that you're, like, holding, like, your little Klingon dictionary. And I walk over, and I just sort of, like, bump into you. And then your dictionary falls to the ground. And then I bend over to get it. And then I come back up with your dictionary and say, "You're no Patak." Is that creepy? Restraining order. Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, if you're a Star Trek nerd, you know that like Patak is such an insult that there isn't even a translation in the Universal Translator. But just as like, you know, a nerd, I feel like you know, there's a couple things. Which is one is that taking off my glasses and letting my hair down means that I just got more attractive. And the other one is that the only way that I'm ever going to find my person is by stalking them and then wearing them down. Possibly having a boombox outside of their window. So I don't know if you ever are listening, you know, you just all of a sudden hear like the Star Trek theme. And you look out your window and there I am. It's because I would like to boldly go where possibly a respectable number of people have gone before. I'm just so happy to be here. I was wondering if anybody had other kinds of pickup lines other than stalking. Because I will tell you that I don't understand when people hit on me. And so I've figured out some like things that I would really like for pickup lines. Like, I find you attractive and would like to take you to a meal of your choosing. I would also really like it if somebody said, when I'm around you, I become physiologically aroused. Which is about eye dilation. Stop it, perverts. And I think that this one is the most romantic. Much like Data, I am fully functional and programmed in multiple techniques. I just want to say, it's been so lovely to be here. Thank you so much. If you want a hug or to scold me, because canonically it was not the Joker that killed Batman's parents, it was Joe Chill, and the Joker was only depicted in the 1989 film by Tim Burton. I'll be over there. And you can stalk me on Marie Elizabeth Comedy. Thank you so much.
Keep it going for Marie Elizabeth. I got my mask caught in my earring. This is great. I'm just going to bring on our final comic for today, and then maybe if there's time, I'll do another song, but we'll leave it to the end. It will be a sing-along, so let's see how much time we have. Give it up for Stevie Ray.
I just felt Suquamish presence. What the heck is happening at Geek Girl Comic Con? All right, I'm glad at least some of you guys got that. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. We got Madoka here, so I feel safe. We also got Sexy Bowser, though, so I feel turned on. I don't know. I got a lot of feelings inside one body. I do have to say, though, Geek Girl Comic Con, best smelling nerd convention I've ever been to. I feel like none of us had to be told or even suggested to shower or put deodorant on this morning. And I feel like maybe then we're the correct population. Maybe there should be some barriers. I got a 10 out of 10 back there. Nice. I was hoping I could open up and like talk nerdy to you guys. Is that going to be okay? You cool with that? All right. 1 0 0 1 0 1. I know I'm getting flustered too. I'm getting very flustered. Thank you guys. I was a little nervous because, you know, you never know how a binary joke is going to go in a non-binary crowd, so I'm glad you guys liked it. Man, we're making good time. Okay. I actually used to cosplay professionally for 5 years, thanks to Geek Girl. So this is kind of a crazy full circle. That was like 10 years ago. But thanks, Geek Girl. Love that that you are letting me back here. It was nice that they funded a lot of that stuff, or at least gave me some means to be able to make some really cool, intricate cosplays. And it's just given me a fascination for every time I see those crazy, like, built out armors, you know, when we've got the Master Chiefs. My one and only question is, how do you pee in that? Actually, 2 questions. How do you sit in that? Because you can't be walking around at a convention all day and not sit down, right? So I just wonder, like, are they just like, gotta have a handler, right? Or just like a butt compartment that comes out, like, I don't know. One time I was talking to a furry and they did tell me they were wearing a diaper, and that kind of made me feel a little different about furries, honestly. No, I felt the same way. I'm gonna be really honest. You know, I've been single for a long time. That's fine. You know, it's cool. This is the face of someone who loves being single. My life is really good. But back when I used to Twitch stream and cosplay, you know, a lot of men who would see me, they would just be like, "You're one in a million. You were made for me." And I was like, literally every guy I meet is into what I'm into. Like, it's when I then start telling him that his taste in anime is crap, that he's like, "You're just like the others. Am I one in a million, or am I just another girl's girl? I don't know. Sailor Moodang, am I right?" Yeah, so I died twice. That's a fun fact. I have been resurrected more times than Jesus, so. Madoka, am I right? She knows what it's like to come back. Yeah, I like to think of it as just heaven and hell playing hot potato with my soul, you know? It was like, you take her, no, you take her. All right, we'll send her back. When people ask me why I'm still single, you know, I say it's kind of hard because once you've kissed death, you know, no one really just like does it for you. But you know, he had some things that weren't so great about him too. Like, you know, he was really clingy. He didn't want me to see my like friends or family ever again. And that got really hard. But like now, when I'm back out there in the dating game again, it's just like, okay, every guy wants me to just split the bill. Like, I died, okay? You could at least buy my slice of pizza. I think I was honestly in a coma longer than most men put in effort, which is 24 days, by the way. And I guarantee if you're single, you probably also know how many days someone will put in. But I do also date women, which means I'm rejected by everybody. And that's fine. But, you know, sometimes when I'll like hook up with someone, you know, a female that maybe my friends know, they'll be like, "Oh, is she bi?" And I'm like, "Oh, you know, we were just making out and I didn't think to be like, what, are you gay?" Whoa, no way. Yeah, most of the time though, I don't make out with women because I'm just scared of their beauty, so it's really hard to even get close to one. Yeah, I like to say that, you know, I never owned a plant before the pandemic, and then every time I got lonely, I just brought a plant home instead of a man home. And so, really? Okay, you're right. Dang. We are cooking here, guys. Anyway, spider mites is a lot easier to deal with than a UTI. That's all I'm saying. My grandmother and I, we both really like true crime. Anyone else? Big true crime fan? Yeah, we got some true crime people. I always tell my grandmother, I'm like, nothing puts me to sleep like murder, you know? And she's like, "Oh, that's too scary for me. I gotta put on something nicer before I go to bed." My grandmother's Italian, so I gotta put on something nicer before I go to bed. That's what she sounds like. She's also eating pasta every other word. But I'm like, oh, well, that's like the furthest thing from my fears. And she's like, oh, no, we're talking about fears? No, my fear is that I'm going to pass in my sleep peacefully. And then someone's going to come and check on me, see rollers in my hair. I'm going to be indisposed. I was like, dang. A lot of people be like worried about your browser history, you know, like not my gram, man. She's concerned about her rollers, God forbid, you know. I'm like, honestly, too, I think that like browser history, who really cares too much about that? I would be more embarrassed if you found my calculator history than my browser history. I mean, there's boobs on both, okay? Booze on both. I'll leave you guys with this one because I am single. You know, it's really nice out, so I really like to kind of drive outside of the city with my windows down, and sometimes really weird parts of the day, early morning, late night, and I was driving like right at the crack of dawn with my windows down, beautiful outside the last couple of days. And I'm out in the middle of nowhere too, right? And this guy pulls up next to me. He's got his windows down, and I hear him just start yelling. He's like, hey! 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 I'm like, oh my God, please stop. Like, at least think of something better to say than just hey. You know, like, you're really pretty! I'll pay for dinner! But he keeps going, hey! Hey! And I go, what? What? But it wasn't him. It was the goat in the back of his truck. Checked my ego for the day. That goat was cute too. I gave him my number, never called me. What do you expect out of a Capricorn? Am I right? All right, I'm Stevie Ray. Have a great night.
Unfortunately, we ran out of time for the song, but I do want to thank everyone for being here. We have some stickers up front if you want free stickers, which I know you do. And I just want to call everyone back up that performed so that we can, just wave goodbye and thank you all for being here. So give it up for everyone you saw today. There was Teresa, Stevie, Polite Kitty, Silas, Maria Elizabeth, and I'm just doing this because otherwise I never get a picture of everyone. So thank you all very much for being here. Enjoy the rest of the convention. Pictures.